Hi guys, happy Saturday. I hope this message finds you well. I've been seeing a lot of people spending time outside lately, and I'm really excited to see that. It's what we all need. I figured it would probably take a week or so for people to get bored being in their house on their devices. So awesome. Actually, Wappy and I took the kids to town yesterday to do a little bit of grocery shopping, and on the way we saw a young woman sitting outside in the middle of her farmland, just her root chakra planted on the earth, and she was just sitting in the sunshine, and it was just such a beautiful sight. With that being said, I kind of wanted to go over a story that I'm used to reading in the Bible. It is the story of when Jesus fed 5,000, and I love this story. So I thought I would do it outside because this is really what the story is about. There's so many things to touch on in this, so I'm going to try to go through it quickly. Anyway, also, I wanted to do it right now because at the time that this happened in the Bible, it was almost time for the Passover feast. And Passover is coming up upon us here on the 6th of April. It's going to go from April 6th until April 16th, I believe. And I want to talk more about Passover, in the very near future, but I really kind of wanted to address this right now, especially with everything that I'm seeing with everybody being outside and everything like that. So, first of all, sorry, it's a little tiny chilly, so hopefully you guys can hear me with the wind blowing and the birds chirping. It's so beautiful, but I'm kind of shivering a little bit too and trying to stay warm. Anyway, now I love this because it says immediately in John chapter 6, it says that Jesus went up on a hill and sat down there with his followers. So the Bible is so specific about the things that it says, and this is part of the story that a lot of us don't pick up on. Little tidbits like that, where it says that Jesus went up and sat on a hill. That's super important because, for instance, right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm sitting down. I happen to be on a hill, but I'm sitting down with my root chakra on the earth. And Jesus tests Philip and says, where can we buy? That's the operative word. Because a lot of us right now, in this time, a lot of us are out of money. And there's a lot of food resources running low for some people. So, this is also really important. But it says, where can we buy enough bread for all these people to eat? And Jesus asked Philip that question to test him, because Jesus already knew what he planned to do. So now if we look at this again from the Christ consciousness standpoint, our higher selves already know. We already have a plan. We already know. We just have to kind of allow things to be, and as time goes on, we will provide for ourselves. Okay, so there's no worry there. Please don't worry. And Philip answered, we would have to work a month to buy enough bread for each person to have only a little piece. Okay, now remember, Christ is sitting on the earth here, okay? That's really important. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when you spend a time outside on the earth and with the earth, yes, you are thirsty. You become very, very thirsty. That's something that, that we know. We know that whenever we go outside, we better have water than have it for the kids, because they're going to be really thirsty after playing and working. But I notice on days like that we're outside a lot, I don't really need to eat much. So that's kind of what I'm picking up already in this story, is that we really don't need much. A little piece is actually sufficient enough. Now, it also says here that there was a boy with 5 loaves of barley bread and 2 little fish. But that is not enough for so many people. No, it's not. But that's not really what the story is about. Yes, grounding yourself outside. Yes, working on the earth. You don't need as much food. And the reason that is because in our society and everything that we've been going through and everything that we've learned, spending all this time indoors and working so hard and stressing ourselves out, that builds up a lot of positive ions in our body. And that's caused from stress. And so we stress eat. And so we eat so much food. We consume so much. And we're not even just consuming food, yo. We're consuming crap. Like food. True human food wouldn't even eat that crap. Okay? So we spend a lot of money on stuff that's not even pure or natural or real or good for us. But and to be said there, we consume habits, garbage, like beliefs and truth patterns or non-truth patterns. Media feeds us a lot of stuff. So right here, though, this is the Christ consciousness teaching us, and it's done in nature. I love how it says that a boy, as if it's a young person, has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. The children have so much to teach us right now, and they want to be outside, so they pull us right out there, and they feel good too, and they get their energy out, and they're not running around acting crazy and driving you nuts inside, so that little boy, those kids, they just pull you right outside. Now the 5 barley loaves and the 2 fish. Okay, so barley is actually representative of the outer world. So we're outside and we're in the light and we're on the earth and we don't have to eat much, so there's enough to go around. But what we're learning is about the outer world. So that's the significance behind barley there. And not only that, it says 5. Okay, there are 5 archangels. Now, Jesus wasn't gathering this information all by himself. Jesus had his own guides. He had his hierarchical angels. And archangels are angels that have never, ever walked the earth. Ever. Now, that's a little bit different than guardian angels. Guardian angels actually walked the earth. In fact, you are likely guarded by your guardian angels every day. My brother is definitely one of my guardian angels. I feel him. I feel him a lot. I feel him on my right side a lot, which I find is really interesting because the right side is the masculine side. So whenever I feel him come into my space, it starts with a thought. And I will touch on that another time. I'll touch on the archangels too another time, but I will tell you that the 5 are Archangel Michael, Raphael, Uriel, Samuel, and Gabriel. So I'd like to go over that with you guys sometime in the future. However, so we're learning about the outer world, all right? And we have, or Jesus has, the 5 archangels above him, in which he's pulling in their wisdom and their knowledge, that Christ consciousness, okay? And he's feeding it to the people. Now, the 2 fish is also really significant because this happens like 2,000 years ago. And every 2,000 years, we enter a new age. And that was, those 2 fish were just signifying that Jesus, or the Christ consciousness, was ushering in the new age of Pisces. If you look at the Pisces sign, it's actually 2 fish, and they look like they're chasing each other around in a circle, which I think is kind of interesting, because humans have been under such a spell of doing. They're not just being human beings. So, and that's what we're learning now with all this chaos going on. Dude, we get a break out of work. So now we have time to go into our spiritual work. And we're not slaving away at our jobs. And that's not to say that there's not people out there still working. But those people who are working right now really are doing spiritual work. And I mean, shout out to them. Amazing. Like nurses and people running the grocery stores. People who are still growing food and whatnot. Just amazing. My family is watching me right now. Yeah, and also I kind of want to give a shout out to everybody too that like is affected by this coronavirus, because I'm so sorry about that, and the rest of the world is too. It's affecting us all. But anyway, also I know that everything that I just said is a lot to take in. It's just not the way that we've been taught. But it's really important that we try to view this from a different perspective, because Jesus did say to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And the reason that we have accepted the stories, or the story, history, or his story, which is written here in the Bible, Jesus' story, we've accepted it so literally that we can't see the spiritual side of it. So when we see this story, we literally see that the miracle is that he somehow transformed 5 barley loaves and 2 fish into mass quantities of 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. But he didn't. It just took very little to feed the people, because they were grounding themselves. They were coming into themselves. They were replenishing themselves with negative ions from the earth. And we were he was taking in that Christ consciousness, and which is what we're learning to do right now in just being and spending time outdoors with Mother Nature. And I know that it's true that these stories were written right the way that they were, because it says right here, also in chapter 6 of John, it says, I'm sorry, not chapter 6. I'm going to speed forward. It's actually chapter 16. And this is where Jesus has victory over the world. And he says, I have told you these things using stories that hide the meaning. Oof. But the time will come that I will not use stories like that to tell you things. I will speak to you in plain words about the Father. In that day you will ask the Father for things in my name. I will not need to ask the Father for you. The Father himself loves you. He loves you because you loved me and believed that I came from God. So what he's saying there is that the second coming, or the embodiment of him that comes through us, we will know the words of God. We will look at these stories in the past and go, wait a minute, he really was just telling parables to us. Because when we behave like just mortal men, we see things through only our two eyes instead of our third eye. And Christ consciousness resides at the third eye, or the pineal gland. When it's open, we can see things, we can hear things, we can feel things that we never have before. And that's like just going beyond the five senses that we're used to using. It's using our sixth sense. And there we go again. That's another M. Night Shyamalan movie right there that's so relevant right now, the sixth sense. And that is a sense that we are often told to cover up. Like, that we're not supposed to have emotions and feelings and feel anxiety or stress or anything. So they just pump us full of pills, which is such bullshit, to be quite honest. And it makes a lot of people a lot sicker. So, I mean, for me, I used to be on that stuff too. After my brother passed away, I literally almost died of a broken heart. And I started taking pills, and man, I was a freaking mess. I couldn't take care of my kids. My kids are adults now, my two oldest, and they probably took better care of themselves back then than I could take care of them. And they were so wise for being there and for helping me. But I got out of it. I got out of it by getting out into nature. I got out of it by letting go of all the stuff that I was using, all the chemicals that I was putting on my body and in my body. I started treating my body like a temple. And you guys have the time to do that now, and to really love yourselves and to come into yourselves. And I'm so glad to see everyone outside. I hope that this message helped you guys. That's what I'm here to do, is just to kind of assist through this process of awakening. That's my job as a light worker. I work with the light to help to heal others, and for others to understand this change that we're going through. We're going into the age of Aquarius. This is the water bearer age. This is where we go from our old beliefs and constructs, and all those things that we've been governed to believe. And it's also what has put us in a lot of fear that we're going to go to hell if we don't do things the way that we were taught to. And that's just silly. Hell is not a place you go when you die physically. Hell is a place that you reside, that we have been residing in. And we are ascending. We're ascending into a heaven-like state of mind. And that's really what heaven is. It is a state of mind. And you can come into that. And you can come into that just the way that Jesus was teaching in the Bible, sitting on the earth, and just plainly being and letting your spirit guides come to you. And that's why Jesus was so misunderstood in his time, because he was ushering in that age. The Christ consciousness typically is very misunderstood. I mean, what I'm saying to you probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you. But as you awaken, it will. And me and many others who work with the light will be here to help you to navigate through that, because it's a wild ride, man. And it's coming soon. It's coming soon. This is going to be an unprecedented Easter, and Passover is coming at the same time. So, namaste to all of you. I don't know if you guys really know what that means, but it means I bow to the divine in you, because we are all divine. And if you guys haven't watched any of my videos yet on YouTube, I only have 3 up there. This will be my 4th, and just try to get the message out there. Love and light to you, and as always, I love you guys, and